Hey, First Things First listeners, before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com, reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, as well as the televised version of this show, just a click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com. Now let's start the show. First things first, is Tom Brady's 10th Super Bowl his greatest achievement yet? Why did Aaron Rodgers call his future with the Packers uncertain after the game? And the Bucs are headed home to host and play in Super Bowl 55. Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolfe alongside that guy, Nick's Kevin Wilds. Nick, will it even matter for the Bucs going up against Patrick Mahomes this year?
What? Oh, no! Oh, poor Tommy. That's going to be 4 Super Bowl losses. I heard those are bad to have. Let's go! Let's go!
Jenna, that's how you want to start the week, Jenna? You kidding me?
I'm setting your buddy up right. Just setting him up. Here we go, Chiefs and Bills. And as good as Buffalo had been coming into this game, well, Nick, you were right. Chiefs can just turn it on when they need to, and last night it was on. You'd never know Mahomes was coming off a concussion. You'd never know Mahomes had an issue with his toe. He was moving around as well as we've seen him. And when that team is playing that way, there is no competition. So let us kick off the conversation with you, Nick. Are you surprised the Chiefs handled the Bills team so easily last night?
No, I'm not surprised. But I know America is. Because all year long, I tried to tell y'all. Let me take you guys on a delightful journey over the last 4 months.
Oh, good.
It started with alleged hangovers. Remember that?
Great.
Remember first game of the year, we started with me having an ice pack on my neck and sunglasses on.
That's
because
right.
the Chiefs were going to be hungover.
Right.
And then it turned into, oh, don't look now. Those scary Steelers are undefeated. What are you going to do? They're 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, 11-0. You're going to have to go to Heinz Field. And
That's
then once that team was dispatched of, we started creating things that have never existed in nature before. Things like dropped interceptions and wins that were too close to actually count because we needed to find a way to add some doubt to the season. And then the ultimate disrespect. And I warned you, America, don't do this. The ultimate disrespect. It was one thing when Patrick Mahomes was told Aaron Rodgers is better than him. It was something entirely different when old roller coaster Josh Allen, he's the MVP. He's the all-pro quarterback. He's the best young quarterback in the AFC. And so, it all came to a head.
Moment.
Yeah, I've been waiting for it, Brandon. You know who else was waiting for it?
She asked you about last night's game, and you went to the last 20-something weeks.
The last, exactly right, Brandon. Because it all, you know what it culminated in? 38-6. That's the run the Chiefs went on. Like a great AAU basketball team. Got out a little sleepy. Oh, wait, we're down 9-0. Boom, game over. So, no, I wasn't surprised. It's what I expected to have happen. And by the way, Brandon, not to get ahead of ourselves, it's what very well may happen in a couple weeks in the Super Bowl. But about last night, no, not surprised in the least.
Well, thank you for finally answering the question. You just went through 20-something weeks. You wanted to get that off your chest. But, you guys stood strong, and you guys did a great job. But I'm going to answer Jenna's question. I am super surprised. I'm surprised because they came in with the same game plan. Leslie Frazier, same game plan in the first quarter. And Patrick Mahomes made it look like 7-on-7. Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Eric B made it look like it was routes on air, like there was nobody out there with pads. So yes, I'm surprised. They went from dropping everybody in coverage and trying to force them to run the ball to blitzing, which they only blitzed one time in the last game. So if you watch this, they were flustered on the defensive side. They tried to play zone, and they were just picking them apart. Offensively, definitely surprised. There's two teams coming into the playoffs that moved the ball the best in the National Football League, and that was Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City and Josh Allen in the Buffalo Bills. So for the Buffalo Bills to go out there and look like they were lost in the sauce, I was 100% surprised, Kevin. I mean, this is a team that I stood on the table for, and what got me in trouble as a player now is getting me in trouble as an analyst. I'm always going for the underdog. I truly believe that they had a chance, Kevin, and they didn't. They didn't.
I know.
Big difference between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills.
I was a little mad at you, Brandon, because it's just fun to sort of make fun of Nick. And I'm like, well, Brandon's making good points about the Bills. And afterwards, I'm like, nah, watching the game is like, they have too many weapons, and their weapons are in another class, Brandon. It's like if there was a water gun fight, and the Bills have like cool super soakers, and Mahomes can harness the power of the sea. Just like, tidal waves, the big plane that fights forest fires. Tyreek Hill had 9 catches for 172 yards. Travis Kelce had 13 catches, 118 and 2 touchdowns. And that's after last week where they combined for 220. So I know, and Diggs had a fine game. That, like, the Bills' offense looked okay, but they were nowhere near the superpower. And, Nick, here's where it gets scarier. Le'Veon Bell did not play, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire barely played. You give those guys 2 more weeks to heal up, and if they're even close to 100%, the superpowers that Mahomes have even become more super powerful.
Well, and my X factor from Friday, I got duped by the injury report. Sammy Watkins, game day scratch.
Oh, you're right.
Thought he was going to play. He doesn't play, and he's been excellent for the playoffs. In the playoffs for the Chiefs, which is seemingly the only times he's been healthy, and this year he hasn't been healthy yet for the playoffs. Folks, here's the situation we have. We've got a guy in Travis Kelce who I believe, Brandon, when it's all said and done, is going to have every tight end record. I think when it's all said and done, Travis Kelce is going to be considered the greatest tight end, most prolific receiving tight end ever. You have Tyreek Hill, who is the fastest, skilled player in the history of the league. And Patrick Mahomes, who now, before his 26th birthday, has been to more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers, than Dan Marino, than Drew Brees, than Steve Young ever made it to. Patrick Mahomes, who has now made it to the Super Bowl twice, Brandon, before he's lost a single 2-score game. He's never been blown out, never been beaten by more than 8 points, never played a road playoff game because they always have home field advantage.
So what you saying?
That is what you're up against. Oh, that he's going to be the greatest, that he's playing the current GOAT? And he will in about a decade dethrone him? Yeah, I'll get to that later in the week.
The Kansas City Chiefs back in the Super Bowl.
Let's talk about it more.
Where they will now face Tom Brady and the Bucs. We got 2 hours and 50 minutes to keep talking about it. Bucs, who had themselves a tough day at Lambeau, but still a productive day. We'll explain. First things first.
Jenna, do we really have 2 hours and 50 minutes?
What's up, First Thing First listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before 2 something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to First Things First.
How about some Packers and Bucs in the NFC title game? And let us jump to the end of the game. 3rd and goal, over 2 minutes left, pack down 8. Could Aaron Rodgers run it in? Certainly looked like it from my comfortable couch in my cozy apartment as I was yelling at the TV. Following the failed 3rd down, Matt LaFleur decides to kick a field goal that cut the lead to 5, but Green Bay would never get the ball back. And that was it. So let us now hear from Packers head coach Matt LaFleur.
I think anytime something doesn't work out, do you regret it? Sure. But we're always going to be process driven here. And the way our defense was battling, the way our defense was playing, we felt like it was the right decision to do. And it just didn't work out.
Aaron, did you agree with the decision to kick it there on 4th down?
Well, I didn't have a decision on that one. Yeah, that wasn't my decision, but I understand the thinking above 2 minutes with all of our timeouts, but yeah, that wasn't my decision.
Hey, Brandon, you surprised LaFleur elected to kick that field goal there, down 8 late in the 4th quarter instead of going for it?
Well, first, he had the decision to take off and run on 3rd down where nobody was in front of him. And then you wouldn't even put your coach in a situation where he had to make that decision. But look, as a player, I've been in those meeting rooms where we talk through the tight red and red zone offense. It's hard to score down here in the tight red. They were on the 8-yard line. Look at the play before. Let's say he didn't have an opportunity to take off and score. No one's open. Right? They're dropping 8 people. It's hard to find someone open. So, yes, I agree with Coach doing it. If it worked, he's a genius. If it doesn't work, now we're talking about it. So, I go back to my meetings with Coach Josh McDaniels. He used to always say, Brandon, you got to understand that in the tight red, the first play doesn't work. So he would make us run the first play, and then he said, okay, now go work. Go find open spots, because that's where you're going to score a touchdown. 70% of the time in a tight red, you're not going to score off the first option. You got a 10-yard in cut, back at the end line. You're not going to get it. You're going to get it when you whip back out and you run to the pylon. So I agree with Coach here, and obviously, he's getting crushed because it didn't work, and this is a part of the game. But I go back to that 3rd down. Aaron Rodgers should have took off and been a hero and dove in the end zone. That's what should have happened.
And Brandon, even if he doesn't get in the end zone, he gets at least to the 3 or 4, and then they are going for it. If he gets positive yards there, then they are going for it on 4th down. So a couple things here. One is, if they were down 7 or 6, kicking a field goal here to me would be indefensible. But down 8 is a different story, because you can't, a 2-point conversion is hard to get. Just ask the Packers earlier. So the idea that they go for it, even if you score the touchdown, you might end up kicking off down a score to Tampa. So I get the logic of kick the field goal. If we get a stop, now a touchdown wins it for us. But I think the 2 most notable points are about what it says about both quarterbacks. Matt LaFleur, the Green Bay Packers started the season by showing so much faith in Aaron Rodgers, they traded up to draft his replacement. And they ended the season by taking the ball out of the alleged league MVP's hands. So it says quite a bit about what they think of Rodgers, whether they want to admit it or not. And I do want to thank Matt LaFleur, because while he let me off the hook a bit, because I am, on a short list of people that if you were to ask who's the most disrespectful to Tom Brady, people would probably mention my name relatively quickly. Well, not anymore, because Matt LaFleur kicking a field goal there is the single most disrespectful thing Tom Brady has ever experienced. More than me and Kellerman talking about a cliff, more than anything on Tom versus Time, more than any of it. Because what he said when he kicked that field goal is, guess what, GOAT? You're going to go 3 and out. We don't think you can get a single solitary first down. And he, of course, was wrong. I know Packer fans will say he was wrong because of a bad call, but it is what it is. So it was LaFleur saying, I trust my defense to stop Tom Brady more than Aaron Rodgers to get 8 yards. That is the nut of what just happened here, Wilds.
Right.
Well, let me jump in here. So for Tom Brady, he ended up having the last laugh, as obviously you know how that ended. He goes on to his 10th Super Bowl. But for Aaron Rodgers, Rodgers now falls to 1-4 in NFC Championship games as the focus shifts to his future in Green Bay this offseason. So, Brendan, I want to throw it back to you. Was yesterday more about Brady's win or Aaron Rodgers' loss?
Oof. I think when it's all said and done, when we look up 3 months from now, 4 months from now, it's going to be equal. We're going to be talking about Tom Brady and what he's done next to Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, Wayne Gretzky, Derek Jeter. But then on the other side, there are a lot of questions surrounding Aaron Rodgers this offseason. Where do you go from here, right? Like, I know how hard it is just to lose a big game in a regular season. Now you're talking about losing what is this, your fourth NFC Championship game? Like, this is a big deal. And you're sitting at 37. So I think we're going to be having these discussions for the next couple of months because we're going to be looking at where does the Packers go from here? Where does Aaron Rodgers go from here? Does he want to stay in Green Bay? Does he want to move on? And then Tom Brady, obviously, this is a huge discussion. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, Nick, where, if this guy goes to the Super Bowl and win it, will he then go from the greatest football player ever to potentially the greatest athlete ever? So this is a huge discussion that is just now getting started.
Yeah, it feels like the narrative change, though, was around Aaron Rodgers. Like, Tom Brady came into the game being the GOAT, and he's going to left the game being the super GOAT. And I think Aaron Rodgers looks at this game and says, they went all in on Tom Brady, and my team, just like Nick mentioned, is not. They signed him to a 2-year contract, even though he's old, and Belichick has basically given up on him. They drafted an offensive lineman, not his backup quarterback. They signed his buddies. They signed Gronk, which everybody loves, but Arians is on the record of not loving AB. So then I think, and then at the end of the half, what'd they do, Nick? All right, do we want to go? Do we want to punt it? Do we want to hit a field goal? Like, nah, send Brady back out there. Let's score. I think Aaron Rodgers looks at that, Nick, and says, you know what that feels like where I'm in? It feels like Tom Brady in New England right now. Maybe I'm Tom Brady in New England. Maybe I need to seriously think about pulling a Deshaun Watson, asking to leave this place. I think that, I don't think it was just frustration after a game rearing its head. I think he's going to take a long, hard look at it and be like, you know what? You're right, LaFleur. We do make process, prudent decisions. But you know what? I want to win right now.
I get all that. And I've been a huge supporter of Rodgers. I love him as a player. But if you want to win right now, the best thing Rodgers could have done would have been to play better yesterday. Because they didn't lose yesterday because they didn't have enough weapons. They didn't lose yesterday because they didn't have enough chances. So the reason I can't make it about Brady, can we just show Brady's stat lines? Brady, listen, Brady played perfect football for the first half and that one throw to start the second half. And then he gave the Packers every chance imaginable to get back in that game. And what did Rodgers do with those chances? Down 28-23, he went 3 and out. Brady then threw another pick, and Rodgers went 3 and out again. And as Brandon mentioned, down 31-23, could have run maybe for a touchdown, certainly for a decent gain, and he throws an incompletion. On top of that, what led to the touchdown for the Bucs before the half? Rodgers throwing a pick. So I love Rodgers, but the Packers were better than the Bucs throughout the entirety of the season. Rodgers was better than Brady throughout the entirety of the season. And last night or yesterday afternoon, that was not the case. And so I think this isn't when you played the Falcons and they scored 31 straight points in the conference championship game because your defense was horrible. The Packers defense got Green Bay back in this game after they had back-to-back turnovers. One on Rodgers, one on was Aaron Jones. And Aaron Rodgers had chances to capitalize, Jenna, and never could. So I think that this one's got to sit on him as much as the organization.
And when you talk about what both teams have, Brady didn't have to be perfect to win that game, and Aaron Rodgers did, and that says a lot about where both of those teams are and both those quarterbacks are. All right, take a turn to the NBA now. Time for Nick's NBA Medals. Anthony Davis went for a season-high 37 in the Lakers' win over Chicago on Saturday, but he just missed out on a medal. Why? Because 3 guys did more than that. Nick, who did earn a medal this weekend?
Jaylen Brown gets a bronze. He started the weekend with 42 points on Friday and then show me some Jaylen Brown. Then was even more impressive over the weekend when he had 33 points in less than 20 minutes. 33 points in 19 minutes for bronze medalist Jaylen Brown. Silver medalist Bam Adebayo. 41-5-9, pardon me, in a close loss to the Nets. Wildly efficient, 14 of 20 from the field. It'd be a gold medal, but as you guys know, you get downgraded a bit for anything you do against the make-it-take-it Nets. And then the gold medalist, player of the weekend, Joel Embiid, 33 and 14 on Friday, on Sunday, I think 38, 8 and 11 on Friday. Joel Embiid right now, either first or second in MVP voting, if you were to ask me. Joel Embiid gets your gold medalist. So Jaylen Brown, bronze, Bam, silver, Joel Embiid, gold. What's up, Brandon? What's the matter?
Nick,
what's wrong?
I'm just a little shocked that you haven't mentioned Kawhi. There was a lot of talk about Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers. Oh, this team is bad. Kawhi doesn't play enough minutes. He's playing a lot of minutes now. He just went back-to-back games, 30-plus points against OKC, and not a mention at all?
Well, OKC's probably going to be the worst team in basketball, but Kawhi is a strong fifth. It's a strong fifth. I'll give Kawhi Leonard a fifth place behind Anthony Davis and the three medalists, Jenna.
All right. Wilds with the always popular who missed the cut on Nick's podium last night.
Oh, it's very popular. Alex Caruso, we've seen this a few times. Here's THT looking for a high five. Doesn't get it. Look at Caruso, ultimate teammate. Come on over here, guys. Look at this. Boom. Great job. That's the type of teamwork we see from the NBA champions, Nick, that I expect from, co-MVP Alex Caruso.
Alex Caruso, ultimate glue
You're
guy.
You're going to do for me, I'll
Good
do it
headband,
for
too.
Ultimate glue guy. You know what? Not a bad dunker. I don't know if he can dunk. I haven't seen any dunks from him.
Hey, this might be a dream. Mahomes versus Brady in the Super Bowl. It's got a nice little ring to it. We're talking Super Bowl 55 next. First things first.
Hey, First Things First listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to First Things First.
Back into your First Things First. Let's play a little draw in a blank now. So Josh Allen was just okay in yesterday's loss to the Chiefs, and just okay is not going to cut it in an AFC title game. So Brandon, Josh Allen's performance yesterday was blank.
Yeah, you're playing against a quarterback that can potentially go down as the greatest quarterback of all time. You're playing against a team that has three guys on the offense that are 99 rated on Madden. You can't go out there and play cautious. That's exactly what this performance was. It was too cautious by Josh Allen, by my guy Brian Daboll. They went out there thinking that they were going to be in it in the fourth quarter and potentially win it. They didn't go out there aggressive. They didn't go out there slinging it around. They didn't go out there pounding the pavement. They just didn't do it. It was too cautious for me, Nick.
That's a great answer, Brandon. You know what it was for me? All I wished for and more. He had not one, but two should have been picks. One actual pick, one two-point conversion pick, which doesn't count against his stats, but it should. Got sacked or intentionally grounded his way to 70 lost yards, which is more than the Bills running backs rushed for the entire game. And on top of all of it, when he was sick of getting his butt kicked, he got a taunting penalty for throwing. Yeah, there you go. That was his most accurate pass of the night. Right there. Little backhand toss into Okafor's face mask. It was so awesome. I want to watch it again right now. I want to leave and watch it again, Wild.
All right. Although he didn't play great, I'm still very scared about the future of the Buffalo Bills, Brandon. So I was texting Belichick the entire game and week. I was like, hey, what's up with Stafford? Stafford's wants out of Detroit. Matt Patricia's back with the Patriots, which is either a good sign that we're going to get Stafford or a bad sign that we're not going to get Stafford. So get ready for these next few weeks as I try to cycle through every available quarterbacks and some that aren't available in Patriots uniforms.
Arm isn't that
starting with
skinny?
Matt Stafford.
Those skinny arms. Those arms are bigger than that.
Leave the Photoshop.
You put Nick's. Who's that? Nick's arms.
Look through the available and the non-available. All right. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs, they've got a shot to become the 8th team ever to win back-to-back Super Bowls. They're going to have to beat the last guy to do it, Tom Brady, in order to pull it off. But Brandon, the Chiefs making it back-to-back Super Bowls is blank.
True start of a new dynasty. If you watch this team closely all year, if you watched them last night, then you know how awesome they are. You talked about back-to-back Super Bowls. Well, that guy right there that just threw that ball, number 15, Patrick Mahomes, he's only 25. First guy to ever reach back-to-back Super Bowls at that age. This organization is just now getting started. We know what they have on offense, but did you watch Coach Spags in that defense? It's like he held on to this defensive plan all year for this very moment. This is a scary team. They can beat you running the ball, throwing the ball, and now defensively, the best is yet to come.
Brandon, it's music to my ears, but unfortunately, I got to be a bit of a downer on this answer. The Chiefs making it back-to-back Super Bowls is a year late. Should have been in back-to-back Super Bowls last year. Let me do something real quick. Tails. It is tails. Damn it. If the Patriots had just called heads in the AFC title game 2 years ago, we'd have been going 3 in a row. Should have already been 2 in a row. And by the way, then Brady would only have 5 rings. Mahomes would be going for ring 3. We could have a new GOAT in 15 days. So it's a year late.
Okay,
I'll take it, but I don't love it. A year late, Wild. Stupid coin flip, overtime.
Stop it.
So
Stop
mad.
It. Stop. Don't try to steal my
point.
Patriots thunder because I'm trying to be nice to you because I am apologizing. You guys talk so much about destiny talk. Oh, destiny or dynasty? Both. It's like Back to the Future. In density, Jen. You are my density.
You are my density. Yes,
there we go. I got it in there.
Yeah, there you go.
In any event,
destiny.
Louis Vuitton shopping. Travis Kelce headed for another Super Bowl parade. We love the Louis Vuitton coat. So if you go back to back, go onto the Louis Vuitton website, call Virgil himself up, look for another coat. I'm sorry for saying that you guys are talking too much about the dynasty, destiny, or density. You're doing a great job. Probably a dynasty in the making.
It's all quite heavy. There's that word again. Must be something wrong with the Earth's gravitational pull. We head up to Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers came up just short in the NFC title game for the 4th time. Great line from Back to the Future, a different line. Packers had the NFL's best red zone offense, but twice, not once, twice set up with field goals that ended up costing them. Mr. Brandon Marshall, Aaron Rodgers' performance yesterday was blank.
Emblematic. This is symbolic. This is a symbolic difference between Brady and Rodgers. Rodgers played great, Nick. That one interception that he threw, that should have been a pass interference. But then you go on the other side, and Tom Brady doesn't really play great. But his team plays better. And it makes me think about Devin White's comments after the game. He said to Peter King, he said, you know what? When Brady's on the field, we all believe. He said, when Brady's in that locker room, anything is possible. Aaron Rodgers, does he make the guys around him better? And that's what you get from Tom Brady is when Tom Brady walks into the locker room, the owners, the general managers, the head coaches, the players, the field crew, everybody feels great. Everybody elevates their game. So Aaron Rodgers, to me, his performance was emblematic because he's a great player, but where's everybody else at?
Yeah, so that's a great answer. I'm going, follow me along this path here for a moment, America. Rushmore saving. And by that I mean the folks who were going to have to carve a new face into the quarterback Mount Rushmore, now they don't have to. Because guess what? Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately, that discussion's over for him. The most talented quarterback ever? Well, that guy actually is now in the Super Bowl, his second, and you've been to one. So Montana, Brady, Manning, Unitas, those four faces been up there for a while. They were getting ready to carve a fifth if Rodgers won this Super Bowl. Now they don't have to. Now they might have to in a couple years when Mahomes puts his face up there. But for now, Rodgers is relegated to an all-time great, but not really in the discussion of greatest ever. He lost that opportunity when the greatest ever beat him in his building to go to his 10th Super Bowl while Rodgers is sitting at 1.
Okay, I like that take. All right, I went with MVP consistency. Here's why. Pro Football Talk this morning says, no regular season MVP, assuming Rodgers wins the MVP, has won the Super Bowl since 1999. I said, that's a fascinating stat. So I think there's two options here, and we can talk about it, probably after the show since this is a fast segment. Either A, just a coincidence, the ball bounces one way for one team, one way for the other team, or is the individual accomplishment and sort of not stat padding, but the statistical sort of weight that you need to become the MVP end up hurting your team, end up relying too much on the MVP so that your team can't win the Super Bowl. Food for thought. More on this in the upcoming weeks.
It's quite a tease.
It's a long theory. We don't have time for it.
Clearly one of the best, if not the best, players to come out of the weekend. But Brandon, your unsung hero this past weekend was blank. Can't say yourself.
Yeah, everyone's going to be talking about Tom Brady and all those other guys. And then there's going to be producers on other shows looking at this show saying, maybe we should rethink this after watching First Things First. But it's Shaq Barrett and JPP. Like, they were the difference. They had 5 sacks between them, and they're the reason why the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to the Super Bowl. But if you turn on any television show right now, anybody talking sports is going to be like, Tom Brady, Tom Brady, Tom. We know Tom Brady's great. But can we talk about the difference makers in the game last night? Shaq Barrett and JPP, please.
Nice, Brandon.
Yeah, we just talked about them. Now we can get back to Brady and Rodgers. Interesting stuff. But hey, while we're here, I'm going to talk about something even more obscure than Shaquille Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. L'Jarius Sneed and the Chiefs secondary.
There we go.
Hey, MC Cole Beasley, you're still not open. Hey, Stephon Diggs, if only you'd shown as much fight getting open as opposed to just with Chiefs players on the sidelines, maybe your team wouldn't have gotten 38-6 after being up 9-0. The Chiefs secondary, led by not only the Honey Badger, but this spectacular 4th-round rookie out of Louisiana Tech, L'Jarius Sneed, have added an entirely new dynamic to this defense. They were the unsung heroes, making Josh Allen and this Bills passing offense look awful pedestrian.
All right, I'm going to go with Tony Dungy. A little bit off the board. Tony Dungy seems to be on the Mount Rushmore of, nice guys. Doesn't really have fire takes. But after this touchdown to Scotty Too Hotty to end the first half, Tony Dungy gets on Twitter. Boom! Lets out the fire. If we can put up the votes. Now I got to lean forward because I can't read it because your old buddy Kevin Wild's eyesight's going. Maybe the worst design I've seen with 8 seconds and no timeouts left. Green Bay, I'm not sure how. You play inside technique. There you go. Man-to-man, not just play zone. Protect the sideline, the end zone. Amazing. Fire from Tony Dungy. Not happy with that play call.
Greg Williams liked it.
I'm going to stay in Green Bay.
Yeah, Greg Williams loved it.
2 future Hall of Fames went head-to-head. How much credit does Tom Brady deserve for bringing the Bucs to the promised land? This is First Things First. First things first, we're talking Bucs and Packers quarterback matchup with 2 of the NFL's best. And Tom Brady's the one that came out with 3 touchdowns en route to his 10th Super Bowl appearance. Also threw 3 picks. But the Bucs defense stood tall, stopped Rodgers when they had to. Our guy, our quarterback, Michael Vick, joining us. Mike, good morning. Thanks for getting up and hanging out. Hey, let me ask you, was yesterday's win more about Brady or the rest of the Bucs?
Being that I'm the total team player, I'm going to say it was about the rest of the Bucs. But I will say this.
Nice.
Because Bucs defense played phenomenal. I mean, they did some things that confused Aaron Rodgers. They forced the entire offense into bad spots on several different occasions. But, you know, when I think about Tom Brady and what he did throughout this game, you know, he had his moments. But the biggest moment, and Coach Tony Dungy tweeted about it, the play at the end of the half, I think, was the play that really put the Green Bay Packers in a bad position. That touchdown pass that he completed to Scotty Miller, you know, it was situational football at the time. And, you know, you got to be thinking field goal or, you know, this play right here, you know, caught him sleeping. You know, it was game plan. It was design. You know, it was Tom Brady seeing the coverage one-on-one. And I don't know why you would be playing that type of coverage in a situation like that. But I think that was the play that, you know, really hurt Green Bay. It was Tom making it happen. But in totality, it was the defense that came to play. And, you know, on all levels, very aggressive and did everything right and gave Tom Brady opportunities. You know, and I really feel like, you know, they came together when it really mattered the most, man.
Yeah, Mike, I think I'm with you. I think it was about the rest of the Bucs, and there's so much to this conversation. So we know Tom Brady going into his 10th Super Bowl. He's going for a 7th Lombardi trophy. But at the end of the day, JPP, Todd Bowles, Shaq Barrett, they were the reason why. Coach Bowles lost both of his starting safeties. Whitfield went down. Winfield went down. Well, Whiteside, Winfield. Couple of those guys went down. He didn't even have it. Whiteside and Winfield goes down, and that is their defense. Those safeties are his quarterbacks. They got to get everybody lined up and make the right checks. So for that reason, I got to go with the Bucs. But when you think about the rest of the Bucs, but when you think about Tom Brady brings something to the table that most players and most people can't. When he walks into that organization, when he walks into that locker room, when he steps onto the field, he elevates everybody's game. So I think Tom Brady, if we're talking about the entire season, then the discussion is, yes, he is the most important thing. But when you turn on the film and you watch that game yesterday, it was all about that defense. Tom Brady, like I said Friday, Nick, right? We're not going to see him throw for 300-something yards. We shouldn't even ask him to do that. But in situational football is where he has to be next level. Outside of the play you highlighted, Mike, which we talked about, what is he going to do before the end of the half? Can he go down there? Can he get 3 points? Can he score? He did a great job in that situation. But then you look at Tom Brady, tried to give the game back. There was a couple times where he looked like a rookie quarterback, nervous in the pocket and throwing up the ball and just saying anybody can get it. And there was 2 picks that was his fault, Nick.
Well, and he threw 3 picks total. So to me, I want to start with the end of the first half, because what you saw was in a critical moment. I understand every moment's critical in a conference championship game. The Packers had not played well that half, but they had the ball with a chance to either get a field goal or a touchdown, so either cut it to a 1-point game or take the lead going into halftime, knowing they're getting the ball to start the second half. The clock management was bizarre. They get a big first down with 1:04 left over the middle of the field. They have 2 timeouts. They don't use either one of them. They waste 25 seconds. They get sacked, and now they're really in trouble. And then Rodgers throws a pick, and Brady responds 4 plays later with, I think, his best throw as a Buccaneer. I think that throw to Scotty Miller was as good as it gets. And up to that point in time, Brady, maybe he'd gotten a little lucky on a few throws, but up to that point in time, up to this throw, he had played a basically perfect football game. And then, after this throw, save the one throw to start the second half after the Green Bay fumble, he played as poorly as you can play. But the defense bailed him out. And the numbers back that up. You see his first 7 drives of the game or 6 drives of the game, it's perfect football. The last 5 drives of the game, it's terrible football. So I think it was, and I know this sounds like a cop-out, Wilds, this is a great example of a team win, because Brady got them the lead. And then when Brady was doing what he could, unfortunately, to lose the lead, the defense, once it was a 5-point game, 3 and out, then when it was an 8-point game, forced the field goal, and that's the story. So Brady took care of him for the first 30 minutes. The defense took care of him for the last 30 minutes, and that's why the Bucs are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, I felt lied to. I'll be honest with you. I sit up here and Brandon, OKW, one mouth, two ears. I'm listening, buddy. And all I've heard, ball security is job security. Yours and mine. I'm he's right. Brandon is right. He knows what he's talking about. He's right.
That's right.
Tell my kids,
I still have my football right here.
Ball security job's right. Hey, Brandon, he threw 3 interceptions. The Bucs lost every game this year when he threw 2 or more. He threw 3 and they won. And here's the weirder part where I feel like you might have to abandon your take. He has now won 3 games in which he has thrown 3 interceptions. So he is the ultimate team player when this defense keeps bailing him out. Or the other take, Brandon, is that your ball security, job security thing is just a load. And I don't want to believe that, Brandon. I still want to believe you. But there's something that we need to reconcile here.
Mike will tell you this.
Let's hear it.
It's universal. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Nah, two of those interceptions, Mike Evans was in the vicinity. It goes to show that Tom Brady really believes in Mike Evans, or he's trying to make him into something that, he's probably not. A guy who likes to go up and get jump balls, but it was the defense getting the jump balls. Mike Evans supposed to be getting these. Now, that one was, look, the safety got over. Tom probably didn't look him off long enough. That ball was a tip, and there was another one that was going Mike Evans' way. Mike Evans got to learn to play defense. He can't track the ball, so I can't put these interceptions on Brady, man. I'm not being quarterback biased neither. But sometimes you need help from your receivers, Brandon. You know that.
Kind of being quarterback. That's
right. But let me go back to Wilds real quick. Wilds. We're going to have probably 70 pro football players training at our facility in the next month or so. And when they walk in the door, that's the first thing I'm going to tell them. And I don't care what position. Ball security is job security, yours and mine. It's not going to change. I'm going to be 80 years old talking about it. The biggest indicator in the National Football League between winning and losing is turnovers. So you can do it. Your numbers guy, Nick. Don't try to fight me on this. It's true. And then the defensive guy.
Well,
you know what we're going to say to defensive guys? Tips and overthrows. Got to have those.
Yep. And by the way, you're right. The difference, the reason turnovers are so deadly, though, is what teams do when they get the ball. The Packers turn the ball over twice. The Bucs turn that into 14 points. Brady turned the ball over 3 times. The Packers turned that into 6 points. That's the difference. Is that the Bucs were able to capitalize on the Green Bay's mistakes, and Green Bay was not able to capitalize on Brady throwing lollipops. Just wasn't.
Okay, I say, wow, did that go over your head, right? Because all year I've been talking about ball security is job security, yours and mine. I just introduced a new take.
I got it tattooed on my lower back.
I just introduced a new take. Did you get it?
Can't be wrong.
This is what you say to the defensive guys, right? So that's what we say in our meetings on the offensive side. On the defensive side is this. Tips and overthrows. You got to have those. Okay? There you go.
Balls get picked.
Tips and overthrows. Got to have those. All right. Wild holds his paper so close to his face when he takes notes. Back here talking the AFC side of things. No, that's you get short-sighted. How does that work? How did Kansas City roll over a Bills team that came in red hot in this one? Nick is excited. It's next. First things first. Nearsighted, not short-sighted. Back here talking Chiefs and Bills. And as good as Buffalo had been coming into this game, it wasn't enough against the Chiefs. You'd never know Mahomes was coming off a concussion. You'd never know Mahomes had an issue with his toe. The guy was moving around as well as we've seen him. And when that team is playing that way, there is no competition. Our guy Mike Vick back with us now. Mike, aside from Nick's little quirks, you surprised KC handled this Bills team so easily last night?
Not at all. I seen this coming. The Bills have no running game. And when you don't have a run game in a game like this and you can't control the clock, keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline, then you're just going to give him opportunity after opportunity. I said it last week, and I don't know what happened to Devin Singletary throughout the course of the season. I don't know if he was hurt or if he was a little banged up, but he did not show up for the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and I think that hurt the Buffalo Bills. And I say this, either the Buffalo Bills on defense are super slow or the Kansas City Chiefs is just that fast because McCole Hardman and Tyreek Hill looked like the same person yesterday. And it's a credit to the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a credit to Andy Reid and Brent Veach and, what those guys bring to the table in terms of personnel. They just outclass them. They beat them good, and now they're advancing to the Super Bowl, and rightfully so. But you can't come in the game if you Buffalo trying to pass the football 45 to 50 times and think that you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, because you're going to get them too many opportunities, and it's just not going to happen.
That's a great Vic, I love everything you said there, but let me play devil's advocate just for a moment. If you're the Buffalo Bills, you have to come into the game throwing 45 or 50 times, because that's where your advantage lies. I don't know if you know, Mike, but Josh Allen is the MVP, not Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
The Bills scored more points. Wilds, don't okay me. You did a whole little mini rant on Friday. Oh, guess what? The Bills have scored more points than the Chiefs. The Bills are hotter than the Chiefs. The Bills blow people out. The Chiefs barely win these games. So the Bills went into the game believing the nonsense that they could get in a shootout with Kansas City. And you know what Kansas City did? They went on there, never seen anything like it, except the Chiefs have always done it, basketball-like runs. Can we show Patrick Mahomes' career in the playoffs real quick and the runs they went on in these games? This is remarkable, Brandon. 17-0 to start his first game ever. A 21-3 run, down 14-0. A 41-0 run. A 35-7 run. A 21-0 run to win the Super Bowl. A 19-3 run to start the game against the Browns. And a 38-6 run, down 9-0. That is a run of at least 17 unanswered points, or lightly answered points, I should say, in every 16, I should say, in every playoff game they've ever played. So that's the story. The story is, Brandon, the avalanche is coming. And the Bills got buried by it because the 38 shouldn't have surprised them. Them only scoring 6, them kicking those 2 short field goals, I think McDermott would like those back. Dable would like those back. You got to try to get 7 there, and that's the story of the football game.
Yeah, look, Nick, what I've learned early on in my TV career is when you have a bad take, you just got to make fun of yourself. Here's the deal. I stood on the table all year for the Buffalo Bills because I truly believed in them. They were the underdogs. Nobody wanted to lean into the Buffalo Bills. For me, it goes back to the Jets. I go to the Jets. Everybody's saying, oh, it's a circus, and you have Geno Smith as quarterback. I truly thought I was going to win a Super Bowl. Geno Smith goes down. Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in. I still think I can win a Super Bowl. I was the guy in the locker room. We're sitting at 5-7. I'm the one looking at it like, oh, yeah, we're mathematically still in it. So I truly believe that the Buffalo Bills had a chance. I'm watching this game and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like a college team playing against a high school team, or if you want to say an NFL team playing against a really good college team. They made them look bad, Kevin. You look at Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier in week 6, the first time around, blitzed 1 time. Last night, the second half, they went from playing zone and trying to implement the same game plan that slowed down Mahomes and Andy Reid before and Eric Bieniemy, and then they start blitzing and playing man all over the place. And then when you look at the offensive side for the Buffalo Bills, they had no answer for Coach Spags and that defense. Coach Spags took that defense to a whole nother level. It looked like that was the 2005 Pittsburgh Steelers, Wilds.
Okay, I'm going to give you it's not a bad take. The Bills were really good. The idea that the Jets could ever go to the Super Bowl, that's a terrible take. That should remain buried under the stadium somehow. Okay. The Chiefs' superpowers looked unstoppable. So when you look at Tyreek Hill and you look at Travis Kelce, they've just had monster games. And they had a monster game last week against the Browns and went for 220. So here's the other thing, Brandon, and I'm still mad at myself because you said something very interesting. If we can show this Tyreek Hill highlight. This is just a little pass across the middle. But one time Brandon said, we were in a meeting. Brandon said, yeah, every year I wanted to lead the league in yards after catch. I wanted to be the, wait for it, yak daddy. And I said, you wanted to be the what, Brandon? He's like, yeah, I wanted to be the yak daddy. I said, oh my God, yak daddy is a new segment. We still haven't done it. So Tyreek Hill wins the Brandon Marshall Yak Daddy Award, and it's what makes them so dangerous.
That's right.
Little innocuous plays like this that seem normal turn into these huge gains, Brandon.
And that's why Yak Daddy, that's when you have a guy like this, it just changes the dynamic of your entire team. This is why teams can't play them man-to-man. And this is why it was so upsetting last night, because Leslie Frazier didn't have an option. Because when they were playing zone, Patrick Mahomes was back there with all the time in the world to pick them apart. So they tried man, and this is what happened. So, yes, Tyreek Hill is the Yak Daddy, all right? And I'm sitting here, just sad because the Buffalo Bills didn't even give me a chance last night.
Not a chance.
You can't go from being a zone team to playing man overnight. It just don't happen, and that was evident right there. When you can put the ball in the guy's hands like Tyreek Hill on a 5-yard slant, he could take it to the house. Then I'm looking for those matchups all day. It's obvious that Andy Reid understood what the mismatches was going to be, and he understood Sean McDermott's defense because they spend a lot of time together in the past.
Part of it, and this is why, because I do think that I know. So here's an interesting thing we do on TV. We always talk about the quarterback matchups, right? Even though the two quarterbacks are never on the field at the same time. I do think that when it comes to teams playing Mahomes and the Chiefs offense, the opposing quarterback worries about the Chiefs offense. I think Josh Allen was pressing because he knows who's on the other sideline.
Yeah.
Since Mahomes threw his second interception in the Super Bowl last year, the Chiefs in the playoffs have had 19 drives that Mahomes was on the field for. In those 19 drives, they have scored 10 touchdowns. They have kicked 5 field goals. They have kneeled down 3 times. They have punted once, and they have 0 turnovers.
That's pretty good.
The offense has been unstoppable with him on the field.
He's historian.
And the opposing quarterback knows it. And so because of that, he's all of a sudden sailing even more passes than he usually would. He, instead of taking a 3-yard sack, is turning it into a 17-yard sack because he feels like, I've got to spin out of this. I've got to make a play because you got Voltron sitting on the other sideline waiting for him. And so that, to me, is the story. I don't know what
the Chief had you on payroll for being a historian?
By the way, guys, I was also in that Yak Daddy meeting, and I thought we were having a different conversation. We got to have the Aaron Rodgers talk now. Why did he call his future in Green Bay uncertain? We'll tell you next. First things first. Back here talking to Aaron Rodgers now, who, instead of getting ready for the Super Bowl, is now getting ready for the offseason. I feel like one is far more exciting. So all the focus in all of Green Bay now shifting to Rodgers' foggy future with this Packers team. Here's the quarterback on where things stand.
A lot of guys' futures that are, uncertain, myself included. That's what's sad about it most. Getting this far, obviously there's going to be an end to it at some point, whether we make it past this one or not. But just the uncertainty is tough, and the finality of it all. There's a lot of unknowns going into this offseason now, and I'm going to have to take some time away for sure and clear my head and just kind of see what's going on with everything. But it's pretty tough right now.
Is it me, or did Aaron Rodgers sound like he just played his last game with the Green Bay Packers? Mike, Vick, what do you think? What do you make of what Aaron Rodgers had to say there?
You know what? I think it's just a situation where Aaron Rodgers keeping it real with himself. Sometimes you got to take some time off and decompress and just see where the chips lie. But this is the league of the unknown, and I think Aaron Rodgers is understanding that. You got to expect the worst and hope for the best at times like this. And while we didn't think that Aaron would be in this situation, it's here. And they also have a quarterback on the sideline behind him in Jordan Love, who's a rookie, and we don't know if he has a promising future, but he is the future of the Green Bay Packers. Let them tell it, because they drafted him in the first round. Now, I do think Aaron Rodgers do have some years left, but he do have to take some time off and think about everything that's transpired. It's been a long season, and the expectations was high, and he didn't meet those expectations. So now he just got to take a step back from it, think about it, and most importantly, keep it real with itself.
Mike, the Packers better do everything they can to keep Aaron Rodgers in Appleton, Wisconsin, or wherever they're at. Because if they don't and they lose that guy, they're going to be at the bottom of the barrel. I promise you that.
No doubt.
They better do everything they can to keep that guy. Aaron Rodgers, look, this is the modern day athlete. LeBron James did it. Tom Brady just did it and was successful. It comes down to what Aaron Rodgers wants. Does Aaron Rodgers want his legacy to be that he stayed in with one organization, one Super Bowl, and go down as, you know, one of the greatest players ever and have a gold jacket? Or does Aaron Rodgers want to continue to compete and win another Super Bowl? If that's the case, if he wants to go on and compete, Wilds, he needs to get out of Green Bay, because this organization has shown you over the last 15 years or so that they're not going to give you what you need. Like I said this at the beginning of the year, that the Green Bay Packers have wasted Aaron Rodgers. Now, I do believe some of this is on Aaron Rodgers. We talked about it earlier. Just his presence alone makes everybody work harder. Aaron Rodgers, It's like they're in awe. Oh, he's great. Aaron Rodgers, look how he throws the ball. But does he force you to watch more film? Does he force you to just take that extra rep? Does he force you to go in the weight room after practice and work a little harder? I don't know. I'm not around Aaron Rodgers. Maybe when we have Greg Jennings back on the show, we can ask him. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I want to compete, I'm on the first thing smoking out of Appleton, Wisconsin.
I love that. That's a great take. I think you said something very interesting about the modern day athlete. And Nick, I want to throw a working theory to you. I'll just name a few quarterbacks. We saw Dak Prescott not sign a long-term deal. We saw Deshaun Watson wants out. We saw Matthew Stafford said, I'm gonna leave. We see Brandon put on his news cap and was like, I hear things about Russell Wilson. Seattle needs to take care of Russell. And now we hear Aaron Rodgers. And it feels like that we might be on the precipice of a sea change in football, where quarterbacks realize that it's better to have leverage over the franchise to make the decisions that you think are in the best interest of the franchise for you, rather than a Belichickian, no, I also need a special teams guy and I need deduction in what you think is best. So the question for you is this: do you think that these are just a bunch of coincidences, the Stafford, the Deshaun Watson, the Russ reports, and now Aaron Rodgers, or do you think that there's real chance that we can see more movement in the quarterback position?
I do think there's real chance we could see more movement. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that once you saw the NBA guys, most notably LeBron, and then Durant and Harden and others have followed it, show the most powerful person in the organization is not the owner. It is the superstar. Yep. I think in the NFL, everyone realized, well, that doesn't apply to me because it's the NFL, except for the quarterback, who it's like, oh, it absolutely might apply to me, because the only thing similar to an NBA superstar in value is a star quarterback. Right. But I think that is a separate discussion than the one that we should be having about Rodgers right here. If Rodgers is mad about the last decade, I stand by him. If Rodgers is mad about the draft, I stand by him. But about yesterday, he should be mad at himself. Did Rodgers play poorly? No. But did Aaron Rodgers, if you are going to say this was the last straw for my time in Green Bay, then I would have liked him to take advantage of the 3 interceptions Brady threw instead of scoring 6 points off them. I would have liked for him not to throw this pick. And I understand this might have been pass interference. They weren't calling anything, which I know Packer fans are mad about. I would have liked Aaron Rodgers to Vic, let me ask you a question. I know you put yourself in a mortal's shoes for a moment. So remove Mike Vick 99 speed and give yourself Aaron Rodgers speed, which is decent for a quarterback. Can we show the third down? Vic, if Rodgers runs on that 3rd and goal when they are down 8.
Oh yeah, this play.
I don't know if he scores.
That's a touchdown.
But
that's a touchdown.
Right? Isn't it? Like, that's on him. Yep. And even if he doesn't score, Vic, I think they go for it on 4th and goal if they're at the 2.
You score.
And so this Rodgers press conference to me, Vic, is slightly off-putting, because this was a game where he could have done more and put the Packers back in the Super Bowl, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to watch this film, but at some point he's going to see this play right here, and I'm watching the game, and I'm actually on the phone with one of my friends, and I'm like, if he would have just ran it, he scored. And these are the plays that Aaron Rodgers made, 6-7 years ago with his legs with no problem. But, I don't know if it's because he's a little older now. He physically don't believe he can do it, but he can. That was a game-changing play right there. And right now he's going to be kicking himself in the butt when he watched this play.
This was his joint.
A lot of questions for Aaron Rodgers now heading into the offseason. Let's talk about the two quarterbacks who did make the Super Bowl, Mahomes and Brady. Could not have dreamed up a better matchup for Super Bowl 55. We'll break it down next. Michael Vick, thank you so much.
Brandon, say that louder. Brandon said that could have...
On Saturday, Caleb Plant, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in boxing, puts his perfect record and super middleweight title on the line against Caleb Truax. Saturday, 8 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Go, Caleb, go. Time now for stories to start your morning. Sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Chiefs and Bills, and as good as Buffalo had been, well, Chiefs can turn it on when they need to, and they turned it on last night. You wouldn't know Mahomes was coming off a concussion or had any issues with his toe. He was moving around, and when this Chiefs team plays this way, it's going to be very hard to beat them. Nick, are you surprised, though, that KC handled the Bills team so easily last night?
Jenna, you think I was surprised? Come on, Jenna. You know the answer to that question. No, I wasn't surprised. But the rest of America was. Colin Cowherd and his quarterback face bracket that had at Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes, he was shocked. Whoever it was on the opposing network that did the little check marks before the game and gave quarterback check mark to the Bills, he was absolutely gobsmacked. Folks out here were like, oh, careful of the undefeated Steelers. Oh, the Chiefs aren't winning by enough. Mahomes doesn't throw a lot of actual picks, but he throws a lot of near picks. You know who's not the Super Bowl favorite? The 14-1 defending Super Bowl champions. All those people are positively stupefied at what happened. But Brandon, here's why I wasn't surprised. Because what we know, can we show the Chiefs run graphic, please? The avalanche is coming. Every playoff game the Chiefs have ever played in with Mahomes, they go on a basketball-style run. 17-0, 21-3, 41-0. Bill O'Brien's still not over it. 35-7 against Derrick Henry. 21-0 in the final 7 minutes of a Super Bowl. 19-3 before Mahomes got rear naked choked out of that game. And 38-6 against the Bills corner crew and Josh Allen. So no, I'm not surprised. How could I be surprised? You've got the GOAT quarterback, the GOAT tight end, and the fastest receiver ever. So no, Brandon.
99.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's unfair. Am I surprised? Yes, I'm surprised, Jenna. Absolutely. There was, 3 guys, and I was one of them before the season, talking all year about how good Josh Allen is, how good this Buffalo Bills team is, and how they're going to, build off of what they did last year and how they finished. Yes, I'm surprised. Even when they had their down moments, those couple games where they had a skid, I was still standing on the table for these guys, talking about Brian Daboll, talking about Leslie Frazier. Coming into this playoffs, I picked the Bills and the Bucs to represent the AFC and the NFC. So am I surprised? Yes. And then watching that game, I'm like, oh my goodness, I see why I struggled as a player in these moments, because I was the guy that went to the New York Jets and said, you know what, that Geno Smith, we got a chance. We're going to win the Super Bowl. I was the guy that when we were 5-7, I was the guy looking at the standings and like, we're still mathematically in it. So I embraced the underdog. But in this situation, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs made the Buffalo Bills look like a JV team. That's what they did. And I can go on and on and on about X's and O's and how Leslie Frazier did blitz one-time wilds going into, in week 6. And then yesterday, they forced them to change. They went from playing zone, rushing 4, to blitzing, playing man. Patrick Mahomes could do anything he wanted to, and he did. On the offensive side, Coach Spags, where did that defense come from? That looked like Troy Polamalu in the 2005 Pittsburgh Steelers. They were blitzing. They heated him up. He was on his back foot all day. He was under pressure and duress all day. Brian Daboll, who we're all talking about, and a guy I absolutely love, it's just a matter of time before he's a head coach. His offense looked like it was, freaking, I don't know, man. Maybe the UCF days in 1998. It was just bad for me as a Buffalo Bill fan.
Shout out to UCF, though. Get them in there, alma mater. Hey, Nick, I agree with Brandon that it looks like they're just on another level than the Bills. So that's why I was surprised. It was like a scene in Fast and the Furious where one person pulls up their car and it's all fancy, and then the other person will pull up a NASCAR with a full-on crew, like doing the tires, like it just feels like we're on another level. When you look at Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, combined, they're just crushing. Travis Kelce had 13 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is after last week when they had 220 against the Browns. So when these guys are at top speed, no one can touch them. And Tyreek Hill is, and I'm going to steal a copyrighted term from Brandon here, was the yak daddy, yards after a catch. He's turning normal plays into monster gains. And Nick, here's the scary thing if I was the Bucs fan. You guys didn't have Le'Veon Bell, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire was coming back from an injury, and he wasn't himself either. Get 2 more weeks, and you have a running game too. I think we could see a big blowout in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and Sammy Watkins coming back. By the way, they don't need running backs. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I like you, but you can throw the ball every time. It'd be fine with me. I do want to, Brandon, let you and my buddy Cowherd and Wilds and a lot of people off the hook a bit, because I do understand how this Chiefs team could sneak up on you. I mean, before yesterday, had anyone ever heard of Travis Kelce?
No.
Patrick Mahomes? I mean, it was just like these guys.
Stop it.
These guys, it's like where they come from, out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
And so I get why you would have thought the Bills could beat them. The Bills could beat them.
It's so good. Look, hey, really quickly, let me show you why this team, before we change topics, let me show you why this team is so good. Can you throw up Wild's graphic real quick of Travis Kelce and also Tyreek Hill? This is why this team is dangerous. If you play zone, Patrick Mahomes is going to pick you apart. But look at this stat, targets to receptions. Look how efficient that is. 11 targets, 9 receptions, 15 targets, 13 receptions. If you play man, they're going to eat your lunch. This is why this team is dangerous, and the Tampa Bay Bucs, man, they got the work cut out for them, Jenna.
All right, so we have ourselves a Super Bowl. Our friends at Fox Bet Sportsbook wasted no time setting a line for it. They've got Mahomes and the Chiefs opening as 3-point favorites over Tom Brady and the Bucs. Brandon, I'll send it back to you. What are your initial thoughts on this Super Bowl 55 matchup?
I just talked about myself. I had an epiphany. I'm that guy, right, that's always going for the underdog. And I'm going to do it again. Tampa Bay. I want to lean towards Tampa Bay because of Tom Brady. He just has to manage situational football. But they have their work cut out for him. They have 3 guys with a 99 Madden rating. It's going to be scary. I'm interested to see what Tom Brady what he does, Kevin.
All right, so here's the interesting part, Nick, is I think the Chiefs are going to win. But I think Arians is going to be the first one to say, I know how to beat this team. We're going for it. We saw it yesterday, like we were taking chances. We're not going to be like McDermott hitting field goals. I think Arians will be aggressive, so we'll give the Chiefs a little bit more than they bargained for.
Oh, I agree with you on that entirely, Wild. Like, it's 31-7 Chiefs, and so they're down 24, and it's like you got to go for 2 if you score a touchdown. Got to build 8. Wilds has an amazing graphic that we can show you tomorrow. It's Carlton Davis, who just annihilated, Bucs corner Carlton Davis, annihilated all the number 1 receivers in the league, except for Tyreek Hill, who had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in a quarter. Remember that one? Oh, we're coming back, baby.
We're going to hear about this all week. We got to go.
Talk to you
Undisputed
never.
right now.
It's been fun knowing you. Bye.